welcome to round 2 coverage. We've got the lead card at the 2017 Vibram Open from beautiful Maple Hill Disc Golf Course. BigSexy on commentary. It's myself, Nate Sexton, and Jeremy Koling.
Yeah, we have a tight group here for the lead card. 7 down for Nick and Ricky. 6 down for Nikko and Gregg, and there's a bunch more at 6 on the second card. First round brought a lot of tight scores together. This is going to be a really action-packed second round.
Yeah, hole 1 lengthened for this year, 835-foot par 4. Very, very difficult. You have to throw a huge drive down over the water. It's been a headwind so far in all the times I've thrown it.
Yeah, it's kind of unique conditions. Last year, this tournament was held in June, late June, so much more summer-like conditions. This year, it's been chilly. It's been very, very windy, uncharacteristically windy, and it's made this tee shot very difficult. And this is really nice to stay up left. That's the best way to attack this tee shot right now. With this wind, a lot of shots are getting hammered straight down into the pond or turning over more than you'd like. So staying off left and high is the key on this tee shot.
Yeah, Ricky crushed that pretty smartly. I mean, a safe play, not a lot of turnover, but it looked like he actually got pretty good lie in relation to all those small trees.
And here we're going to introduce a kid from Jacksonville, Florida, Nicholas Masters. Many of you may not know who he is, but that's maybe not the best way to introduce Nick, but this guy is a quality player. I've played with him a few times this year. He has proved that he is worthy of being up here. Quality 53 first round. He's got a ton of skill.
Yeah, this is my first look at the guy. I have not played with him or met him, to my knowledge.
Yeah, people from the East Coast, and especially from Florida, are really excited about this kid coming up in the game. So I'm excited to watch him play today.
Yeah. Here we've got an old stalwart, Nikko Locastro, putting a big move on the disc. That's a nice turnover. He's going to have a chance to hit the road just short of the absolute garden spot.
Yeah, he's one of the best in the game at throwing that force over Anheuser with overstable discs. And having something overstable on this tee that you can actually crush is a huge advantage.
All right, we got Gregg Barsby unleashing.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
He likes a boss. That could be a boss, wow. And that is moving really well. Can he hit the short grass?
Man.
Almost.
And Gregg and Nikko are both somewhat shorter in stature than your typical ideal length for a disc golfers. Nick and Ricky are the tall, lanky type that you see crushing far. But, man, Nikko and Barsby just throw the disc so freaking far.
Yeah, that's a great shot by Nick. All the way up from the drop zone after his drive went OB. Yeah, I mean, Nikko and Gregg, definitely both on the smaller side. They're kind of in that Macbeth class.
Yeah.
You know, there's a couple. It's about speed, you know. It's not necessarily about strength. Not that they're weak guys. They're definitely strong.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, Ricky getting aggressive.
Oh, that's got to stay down, and that will be the first birdie we've seen in this hole.
The best shot this hole has seen, I think. That was very, very aggressive and well done.
And Nikko looks like he's going to take his medicine and lay up, which is a very smart play. I mean,
yeah,
par on this hole is a tremendous score.
If you have any of those trees in your way, I mean, I don't know. I feel like without a flex forehand, that upshot is pretty daunting from that distance.
And we're going to see Gregg. He's definitely
attacking.
And he has got this turned over too much. It's going to hit some trees and drop safe.
No problem. That is fantastic.
He's going to have an outside look at it. And Nikko's one of the players that can run this. He is not really given it that big of a run there with the OB right behind. But
nice little touch forehand there. That's more difficult than it looks to throw the disc that softly.
Yeah, quality drop zone shot. It's a blind landing zone from the drop zone back there. And you have to throw it over 400 feet to find yourself in the ideal spot. So nice recovery 5 for Nick Masters on the lead card here.
Definitely.
And it's
Ricky picks up the birdie. Sorry for interrupting. Let me hear it.
There was only 4 birdies yesterday, which is closer to what I was expecting from round one, but round one didn't produce a single birdie. This hole is really showing how difficult it really is.
Yeah, because what is this? This is a 170 player field or somewhere in that neighborhood. So
Yeah.
this hole has seen over 300 plays, and we're talking about 4 birdies.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Ricky made it look pretty simple there, but I feel like the approach is much easier for the driver-friendly forehand approach than it was before. However, it just is proving how difficult it is.
Yeah, hole 2 is straight away, par 3, 350 feet, finishing uphill. You got the OB rock wall down the entire right side, and you got some pretty nasty trees on the left. It looks like our field size is actually 144, so 300 was a little... Ooh, nice kick there. Staying inbounds right on the green. 300 might have been a little ambitious for me, but very, very close.
Yeah, pretty close. 288 attempts and 4 birdies so far is pretty crazy.
Nikko with a very high line. Oh, it's a roller.
Yeah, he's going to unorthodox roller, which is... Oh, wow. And looks, it just goes right over that ditch.
Got the rock right when it needed to.
Wow. And you know, that's the play. The main reason you're throwing a roller on this hole is just to avoid going OB. And, you know, maybe you luckily get over the ditch as well and get the birdie. He bounces perfect timing right over that ditch. And, I mean, catches that root. That is awesome FollowFlight there.
Fantastic.
I love that. Seeing all the bounces, it's great.
Gregg with a forehand? Tell me how this works.
You have to throw flip up down the right side wall and hug that left side trees and just bring it inside. And again, that might just be a safe play to avoid OB, but there's nothing safe about being down there in those trees.
No, yeah, forehand there. I mean, I'm sure he made it work in practice, but that is a very demanding line. And Nick putting it in the air, a little bit low.
Yeah, he's going to come up.
But he clears it.
Gets over the ditch. That's going to leave him about 50 feet or so.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty makeable putt because you're going uphill. There's no danger of running it.
Looks like he's got the line outside the trees, which is pretty fortunate. If you have to go through, it can get ugly.
Yeah, it's pretty tight in there.
There you go. Easy upshot from Gregg.
Just a bit low. Maybe with the tee shot on one and the low putt there, could be a bit of nerves. I mean, I don't know if Nicholas has ever been in the situation where he's in this big of a card. I mean, he's playing with 2 former champions. Barsby, who was a runner-up the year that Ricky won.
Yep.
And, I mean, he's playing with, you know, some of the greatest players of all time right now. And,
yes.
And he's the up-and-coming player. And, you know, I know how that is. You want to be the guy that proves that you belong here. So
yeah, definitely.
Hopefully we can see him be a little more confident with his shots coming up.
And he's on Team Saki Bomb.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty interesting playing with somebody that you
pretty
sponsor.
Cool. Yeah, sponsored by Ricky, so good pickup from Rick.
Yeah, both sponsored by Latitude 64.
So we had 2 birdies there, 2 pars. Pretty well played hole from our group. Hole 3 also has been lengthened, now measuring 410 feet. A bonus birdie if you've ever seen one. Super, super demanding line. You need to throw a backhand that turns over and drifts right, only to finish uphill back to the pin. Let's see if any of these guys can put the right move on the disc.
Yeah, this is just... It is such a tricky line. Bringing it back that 40 feet really just changed the hole so much. I mean, you can't throw an overstable driver on this hole anymore. Now you have to throw something that turns late to really suit this gap perfectly. You have to have incredible touch and power at the same time. It's a very tough hole, but it's one that sets up for Nikko very well, as you see here. I mean, this is the kind of shot that he throws.
Yeah, he didn't quite turn it enough, I think, but
No.
he's up there for a long look.
Yeah, happened to get away with a little bit of an early release, but he'll be up there looking, and if this gets by those trees,
that's got potential.
That's the way to throw this hole, and that still is going to put him. Well, he's actually right there.
45, 40.
Yeah, I mean, that's a killer drive.
It's amazing shot. Going roughly 450 feet through the woods.
Yeah, 410 is not an accurate. I mean, it might be the distance from out in outer space, but the way that it plays for us is closer to 450, 460.
Yeah, I mean, even if it is 410, he's at least 30, 40 long.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So Ricky going to a knee, big high turning forehand. This is going to be some kind of save if he can get up there.
He's one of the best in the game at doing
Wow,
that.
that was beautiful.
Yeah, inside the circle from there is huge. And, anything inside the circle for Ricky on these baskets where he can really be aggressive and put the full pace that he likes on his putt, I mean, you can almost count that in.
Look at Nick. He says, all right, boss, I see what you're doing. Let me toss a little anti-forehand up there myself.
And Nikko with an outside bid, one of the most aggressive players on tour, though. I don't think we're going to see him. Yeah, him coming up a little bit low. That's one of the misses that Nikko's been kind of crux with in the last couple of years. When he gets aggressive, he gets the nose down just a bit too much.
Speaking of, just a little bit nose down there from Gregg. Good bit at the birdie, but not quite.
And that'd be a great save there from Ricky. And like I said, you can go ahead and count that in. I mean, he's not a player who bleeds strokes. He's always in the mix when it comes to, if he's in the woods, he's going to find a way to get up and down somehow.
Yeah, and I got to think he's a fan of these Mach X targets. They are really friendly to a firm putt, I feel like.
Yeah, they really are. And it's kind of strange, actually. I played with him first round on the Champions card, and he hit the front rim on one of his putts, and it stood up vertical and went through the Mach X chains, and he spit out in the most peculiar way. I've never seen it before, actually.
Strange. Okay, well, all pars there is actually really good on that hole. I mean,
Sure.
I've not seen a birdie with my own two eyes yet.
Yeah, there was 15 first day. There was 11 during round 2. But most of the field is carding pars. There's 80 pars.
Okay,
So.
okay. And this is one of our most birdieable par 3s on the course. Hole 4, 250 feet, dead straight downhill. Very small gaps, but you do have the option to play a forehand turnover, which it looks like Ricky might be showing us here.
And this is going to be his heart.
Oh,
but
no, he's
actually
going right up the middle.
Yeah, he's really good at this. I've seen him throw the shot a few times, and he's just trying to hit the ground about halfway and just keep scooting down the hill and let gravity do the work.
That'll work. Nikko with the more traditional straight putter, and he looks like he's behind a big old pile of logs.
Yeah, I don't know if that's wood for burning or just a bunker for disc golf, but I think it's the latter.
Yeah, I do too. Gregg with the same shot. It looks like he might be heading towards Log Pile City, but he takes a good skip and he's parked.
That is the shot. I mean, if you have the putter, the flippy putter flip up, just let that go down the middle, hit that initial gap, and then just take your chances from there.
Yeah. There's the outside forehand we talked about, and that's a pretty decent reaction, but he didn't quite get the flex he was looking for.
Yeah, it looked like he kind of overturned that just to hit that initial gap.
Wow, Ricky really got himself a bad spot.
Wow.
Hard to tell. Okay, he's outside the circle. He's going to have a big-time putt.
Yeah, that's a scary downhill putt. Fortunately, there's that wall behind the basket now. Oh, there.
Okay. I see why I picked this guy up now. Look at that putt. That is a lot of players might lay that up. Obviously, he had a good line. You can count a little bit on that wall. I think really smart decision there with the wind down for him to just go for that.
Well, even with that wall being there, and that's an unfortunate bogey from Rick, but even with that wall being there, it's still about 10 meters long. So, I mean, if you do miss and you slide all the way back there, it's not a cake tap-in. You have to
gimme.
still, yeah, of course. And
Gregg, easy birdie. Wow. Nikko with his par putt coming back. High in the chains, but he hits it.
Listen to the similarities between the statistics from round 1 and round 2. Besides the one ace that Kale got, there were 33 birdies first round, 31 second round.
Okay.
87 pars to 90 second round. 20 bogeys and 2 double bogeys, both rounds.
Lifetime warranty, and 1% back to the planet. Tempercraft USA. Temper your thirst.
All right, hole 5, par 3, 285 feet. The popular play is out over the water, backhand turnover or forehand. I don't know if you've got any extra lunch I could have, Jerome, because this hole ate all of mine.
It ate mine as well. This is a hole I kind of take for granted when I come up to it because it's just a forehand line over the water. and it's a shot that I'm pretty comfortable with. However, the way that the wind was coming off the lake made this shot very tricky.
Gregg with a nice high forehand. This is looking great.
Oh, even an ace run and
Perfect.
park job.
Perfectly done.
Yep.
Another high forehand. And that is also fantastic. Crazy little bounce, but he is right there.
And Nikko, who is not quite as comfortable with the forehand.
I honestly think this backhand is playing better, though, the way the wind has been.
Yeah.
My group mates have been making me look foolish, just throwing these nice backhand putters right to the basket, and I'm just splashing Firebirds in the water.
Well, especially if you're one of the best putter throwers of all time and you're an Anheuser thrower by nature.
Yep.
This hole is pretty obviously a forehand or an Anheuser backhand.
Nice shot from Ricky. A little bit heavy on the skip, but he's going to have an 11-meter putt coming back.
Yeah, well, the mistake to make is not coming up short and keeping himself inbounds putting for birdie. And
Whoa.
just the elevated basket. I mean, that makes this hole that much more difficult. I mean, just that they raised it 2 feet.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a ton less birdies this year.
Yeah, and when I see those off the rim putts, I always kind of think the Mach X. I mean, that's the tallest cage in disc golf. It's got to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's right now it is, sure.
Yeah, it's like always just kind of interesting, the different targets that we play on. I tend to not really, it doesn't make a huge difference to me which ones we use, but it is interesting to see when a putt misses just by a hair that the equipment makes all the difference sometimes.
I mean, this hole went from 2016 being the 3rd easiest hole in the course, averaging 2.84, which is a pretty safe birdie.
Yeah, absolutely.
To yesterday being the 5th hardest hole in the course at 3.47, almost a half stroke over par.
Okay, wow.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah, so maybe there is a reason. Maybe I'm just not terrible at throwing.
The wind has definitely been very tricky for us to battle with, and the elevated basket makes a putt a lot harder to be aggressive with.
Yeah, hole 6 is one of our most difficult holes. Let's hear where it came in.
It's the 2nd hardest.
Okay, 2nd hardest hole, 375-foot tunnel. I'm expecting Gregg to throw this fantastically. He's really been on fire with the forehand driver.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, that's just about as good as it can possibly be done.
I mean, going outside and skipping back up that close, I feel like the closest way to get to the basket with a forehand is the inside route, hugging that wall, but he just cleanly skipped up there. He's got almost a tap in.
That was pretty beautiful. Oh, this is really bad luck. That's straight out of bounds. And from there, I'm going to predict a 5. Like a 4 is almost impossible.
Yeah, the 4 from there is going to require a very aggressive...
This is very bad, too.
Yeah, he stayed safe, though.
Did he? Okay, that's
Early
good.
enough kick, yeah.
That's good.
He wasn't far enough down the fairway. It wasn't a hard enough kick, but the rare Nikko Locastro forehand.
That is surprising to see a forehand from him on this hole.
And Ricky as well, the brutal kick.
Hole 6 showing its teeth here, because as we're going to see, when these guys step up to their spots. Oh, and look at Nikko. This is a crazy play over the OB.
Yep. That's
fantastic.
Wow, with the tree kiss too. That is a 3 that maybe 2 or 3 people get if 144 people try it.
Oh, and this is really pretty good, too. He's going to give himself a putt. Yeah. I have seen a few people try to go over the OB. That's the only time I've seen it work, I think.
There's an old video from one of the MSDGC videos back in the day, and shout out to Steve Dodge.
Beautiful shot there.
That funny commentary that he's done. But Steve Brinster had to throw that shot one year, and it's got a great video shot of him actually making it.
In the basket.
In the basket, from the short side wall where 3 of the players just threw from. So, pretty awesome.
Insane. That's a 3 save, a 4 save for the ages.
Yeah, that's a 4 is about what the hole was averaging. I mean, it was averaging 3.93. I mean, that's basically a full stroke over par.
Wow.
No.
Ouch. After that drive, that is tough to swallow.
Oh, come on. And if there is any complaint about these baskets, it's that a lot of times those dead center putts just get pushed back due to the heavy nature of the chains. I mean, that's a heartbreaker because what an incredible birdie to pick up.
It really is. is.
I mean, you're a stroke and a half, almost 2 strokes on the field, and really unfortunate break there from Gregg.
Well, out of the frying pan into the fire here, because hole 7 is no slouch. We are going dead straight again up the hill, 370 feet. It plays longer. I actually think it's harder to park, but there's no out of bounds, so it's not going to give you too many doubles and triples.
Yeah, you're not going to get the huge numbers. However, it's still possible. I mean, we saw 2 quadruple bogeys on this hole yesterday, but
Gregg with the forehand. It's off on the side. That's fine.
Oh yeah, that's
actually
better than fine.
That's really, really good.
Yeah, that's. Anytime you can give yourself a look at a putt, you're almost in like that bonus territory where you can kind of take a deep breath and not have to worry about the big number, which is just always impending on this hole.
And that's he's probably done enough there. He got at least 250 feet up the fairway. Didn't take a terrible kick. Ricky with the forehand. Was gonna say drift right, but it took a hard kick right.
It's such a tricky angle because you have these early trees here. If you want to throw that forehand, you have to have something that you can fly just straight for 370 feet, which is almost impossible.
Yeah.
And to get that flex, you have to keep it so close to those early trees on the right. It's just a very, very difficult shot.
Look at Nicholas here.
That's
perfect.
Yeah, I mean, showing that he belongs right now. I mean, that's a fantastic stand-up drive right down the fairway, and he's going to have about a 50-foot look for birdie.
Oh, Ricky takes another tree kick. He's going to have an obstructed putt, but a makeable putt, I think. See if Nico's forehand flex is ready to go.
Uh-oh.
A little bit of unfortunate root tree kick there. This is Gregg for a huge birdie.
A little bounce-back birdie if he can make this.
And I think we mentioned this yesterday. Isn't it crazy to think that yesterday Gregg birdied 5, 6, and 7?
Oh, wow.
And today he's inches from birdieing 5, 6, and 7.
Wow, that is a very good point.
So
yeah.
Absolutely shredding one of the most difficult stretches on the course.
And great putt there from Nikko.
Oh, look at this angle.
Awesome angle. Awesome putt to keep it up there. That is so hard to do. Yeah, the slope behind this basket is downward, so if he misses that putt, it's really difficult to commit to that.
Yeah.
And Nick with a huge birdie.
Awesome birdie.
That's a bonus birdie if there ever was one, and
they'll make up for last hole easily.
Yeah, I mean, even par between those 2 holes that's almost a stroke and a half under par.
Yeah, I think he may have doubled, but Gregg sticks.
Oh, he doubled the whole
Either
6.
way, though, 1 over. Your point stands. 1 over is not a big issue through those 2 holes.
Did you see Gregg's putt try to fall back that time?
I did.
I mean, that could be something that sneaks into his head a little bit. 2 holes in a row, he's kind of dealing with some difficulty on the green.
Yeah. All right, hole 8, 320-foot par 3 over water, 95% of the way. You just got to throw a straight shot here. You could throw forehand, backhand, anything you want. You just can't be short because you're going to the drop zone if you are, and you're probably not going to 3.
It begs to be aced. I mean, you have the upslope green behind it. Gives you a little bit more chance to be aggressive with this run. We saw a couple aces last year with Matt Dollar and Nikko Locastro. Let's see some fireworks here.
Nice shot from Nick.
That's a great play.
Perfect weight on the shot.
And that's the ideal forehand line, is just inside those trees. If you finish to the left side of the basket and you're throwing a forehand, then you're probably bringing these trees into the equation more than you'd like. I mean, you see Gregg there.
Yep.
Hits those trees, he gets through nicely, but it's a little bit too much danger that you don't want to deal with.
Yeah, you don't want to do that 4 rounds in a row because a little more solid kick there could end up wet. Nikko really gets over on this. Well, see if it has the time to get back. It does.
And that is... I am picture me shocked here because I am not used to seeing Nikko throw a 320-foot forehand, especially on a hole that he aced backhand mid-range last year.
Just last year. Yeah, that is interesting. Ricky saws it off a little, but does he have the distance? Yes.
And that, to say that 4 players are going to throw a forehand on this hole and Ricky would have thrown the furthest from the basket.
Very surprising.
Un-Ricky-like.
Also un-Ricky-like.
Very un-Ricky-like. Wow.
Nikko for birdie. Connects. Nicely done. His putter's starting to wake up. And Nick, well done. Stringing something together here.
And now that makes up for the double bogey.
Yeah.
The birdie on 7-8 is a quality way to come up with after the 5 on 6.
Yep. Ricky taps out his par. Dabby's parred this hole too many times in his career.
Yeah, like I said, I'm shocked to see that he was that far to the right. But, maybe he was thinking the same thing about trying to avoid those trees. Saw how close Gregg was to maybe coming back in the water. He didn't want to play with it.
Yeah.
But on to hole 9.
Hole 9, a par 3 that's rough, pretty much unbirdieable. Very, very difficult. You have to go up and over the hill, land in a good little landing spot, and then you've got to get over the out of bounds, clear the wall, get over the water, and try to get your 3.
Yeah, this is if you're trying to play under par, this is not a good hole to play because it's just not really birdieable. I think Philo put one on the green last year.
Wow.
With a turnover. And is this a forehand all the way down the hill? That's
as good as it gets for the forehand, I think.
It is. I mean, when you throw the forehand up this hill, the way that the gravity, once the nose is up and that hill drops out, the disc wants to just fight backwards. And we see Gregg going the forehand as well. Not quite as far down the hill, or maybe he is, but
he might have made it to that road.
But he's going to be behind a wall of trees. Very tricky to get out from there up there to the green.
I just feel like, Nikko is a man wearing just a perfect shirt for who he is. Like nothing, not knocking him at all. I'm just saying.
No, it is.
Like that is when I don't know if he got that shirt made or he saw it in the store, but that was like a love at first sight situation because that just really is a Nikko shirt.
He has a couple like that, and you couldn't be more right. That is his personality defined on a graphic tee, and he's got one of the most unique styles on tour.
Absolutely.
It's always interesting seeing what he's going to wear just because no one else is going to be wearing any of the articles of clothing that he's wearing.
No, and I like that shirt actually. I don't know. I don't think I can pull it off yet, but someday
It's
maybe.
not a Nate Sexton shirt.
It's a cool shirt.
Yeah, it's a cool shirt.
And that was a cool upshot. That looks like an easy par, but let's just call it what it is. It's a birdie.
Mm-hmm. And Ricky proving that he can putt from 600 to 700 feet.
Yep. Didn't need all of it there, but he shows that he has it in the tank. Gregg with a sharp turnover here.
And he's getting aggressive. I like this play, but it's scary. Very, very scary. But he's got it across the man-made wall there. He's going to have about 25, 26 feet.
About as far away as you can be on this green.
Yeah.
Perfect drive here. Ooh, not exactly the line he was thinking of, but I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think he wanted to have that nose up just a bit more, a little softer landing zone, but all 4 players are across the wall and putting for birdie, or par, or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, don't roll. Good.
And that's just too many things in the way there for Gregg. Couldn't quite get comfortable.
Great putt from Rick.
And he's a guy that when I see him have these uncomfortable stances and I'm thinking, man, there's no way I can make the disc do what I want it to do, Ricky seems to have that swing consistent every single time. And
whoa. But he stayed in.
He stayed in bounds.
Good. No, I agree with you. I think Ricky, his wrist action is so explosive that I think he's impervious sometimes to stance problems because he can just generate that clean snap very consistently.
And a disappointing 4 there for Gregg with the great approach, but
yeah, four is nothing to really hang your head about, but you would love to get across. When you get across, you'd like to make that putt.
And Nikko with a fantastic front 9, 3 under par on the front is great. That's where the hardest 9 I think is the front 9. The back 9 opens up for a lot more birdies.
Yep.
Should be exciting to see how our newcomer Nicholas Masters hangs with the old guard and the players who have proven themselves time and time for many years. And
yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you to Jomez. Thank you to Overstable. Thanks to David Clancy. Am I right on that?
Yeah, David Clancy.
David Clancy, our stats man. Thank you, Germ. Please tune back in and catch us for the back 9.